Welcome to part 2. Wrapping it up, the whole line thing. I've drawn a grid. This is freehand. It's not perfect, but you make do with what you got. I wish I had one with a permanent grid on it. I may do that in the future. I'm not sure. Okay, so back to slope and y-intercept. What I showed you before was the connection between these two things. Both what we learned, rate of change, IV, and also this whole idea of the equation. And we looked at how to take an equation. Okay, I'm trying to remember this. I think the one I used, I wanted to do this, I forgot, whatever. I think this is the one I used. I'm almost positive. The one that I used as the example in the sheet. The one that Nick was asking about. So what is the slope? Let's first of all do that. It's whatever number is beside x. It's 2. What is the y-intercept? It's whatever number is stuck at the end. It's -3. So what are we going to do with this information? Well, the y-intercept is easy, first of all. That's where on the y-axis it crosses. The line is going to cross the y-axis at a certain point. It says -3. Look at the scale here. This is 0 for the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the positive direction. And here's the negative direction. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Down is negative, up is positive. Here, on the x-axis, here's the y. Sorry, I put this in. Here's the x. The x-axis, you go right, it's positive. You go left, it's negative. So x equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've just marked 5 in the whole thing because I don't have to put every number in. You can figure it out. 5 ticks, number 5. We go in the negative direction. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Okay, so let's look back at the equation, and we've defined the y-intercept as -3. So I want to go to y equals -3, and I'm going to put a point there because that's where it's going to cross. Okay? Now, if I want to see, I don't know how steep this is. Okay, the slope is 2, but I don't know what that means yet. So I know a line goes through here. There's a gazillion lines that could go through there. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. Even the y-axis itself, it's a straight line that goes through that point. So what I know from the equation, I've identified it. The number beside x is the slope. And the number beside x is 2. So the slope of this thing is 2. What does that mean? The slope, the rate of change, it's m. Here we go, y equals 2x minus 3. Now, slope means rise over run. And this is how it defines how steep it is. When you're at one point, how far do you go up and how far do you go across? So the number on top means how far you go up or down. If the number on top is positive, it means you go up. If the number on top is negative, you go down by that amount. Okay? The run is left to right. Just like on the graph, right is positive, left is negative. So our slope is 2. And then you say, well, wait a minute. That's just a rise. Where's the run? Everything is a fraction. If you don't see it as a fraction, that means it's over 1. So this means we have a rise of 2. This means we have a run of 1. So if you're at one point, go 2 up, 1 to the right. You got another point. You want another one? Go 2 up, 1 to the right. 2 up, 1 to the right. You can have as many as you want. All you need are 2 for a straight line. If the line is straight, if you have 2 points on that, you know what the line is. We already got 1. That's why I always say Get the y-intercept first. Put a dot where it is on the graph. Now I want to go up to 1 to the right from that point. So I'm going to go up to 1, 2. 1 to the right. That's another point. So I could take a ruler and go whoosh. That's done. The line is done. Or I could put more points if I want. Sometimes it may help you draw a straight line, especially if you're doing it freehand like I am. So I go up 2, 1 to the right. 1, 2, up. Sorry, no confusion. 1 to the right. 2 up, 1 to the right. 1, 2 up, 1 to the right. Okay? Now, and then I can draw I don't have a ruler. Okay, I'm going to draw it freehand. Please excuse me if I don't draw this straight, if it looks like a... That's it. That's the line. Okay. You know how to take an equation and identify where the slope and the y-intercept is. The two most important statistics about this thing. The numbers you want. Those two. If I gave you the two numbers, you could write the equation. If you have the equation, you know how to graph it. What if I drew the graph and I wanted you to come up with the other stuff? Yeah, we'll do that. We'll try that. But first of all, let's do one more line. Do one more of these. Okay? I'm going to erase this. I'm going to erase that. I'm going to put up... I want one with a negative slope. That's a little... I want you to be prepared for that so you don't go like, ah, what is that? When you see it, okay? Now, okay, what's the slope? Okay, the slope is the number that's beside... Oh, I'm sorry, I wrote an M. It's numbers beside x. The x, right beside x, we have negative 3 over 4. Okay, what's the y-intercept? The number stuck at the end, 1. All right, we already got 1 point on it. Y-intercept is where this line will cross the y-axis at 1. I'm going to use this slope. Okay, so this is the rise is negative 3, and when the rise is negative, that means you go down instead of up. This says that the run is 4. Okay, so I'm going to start at 1, y-intercept, and I'm going to go down 3, 4 to the right. So if I start here, I go down 3, 1, 2, 3. Then I go 4 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the other one. That's all I need. Done. Remember I put all these other dots? I didn't have to. All I need are 2. If you have 2, you know what this line looks like. You just get a ruler and extend it in each direction. Okay? That's it. What if I draw a line here? Do you think you can find? Let me try that. I'm going to say, oh, this. Okay. Here's a line. I don't know what it is. Let me just call it L with no number. I want to find L. So the question is, what is the equation of L? What is the equation of L? Okay, well, the equation is always y equals mx plus b. So all I have to know is the slope and the y-intercept. The slope goes here, y-intercept goes here. Easy. So it's always going to start off like this. Again, let's start with the y-intercept. It's the easiest part. Here's L. Where does it go through in the y-axis? Where does it meet? It's going along here. Right here. What's that? Here's 0. That's -1. So B is... Get that for a second. So what's the slope? Okay, here's how we find the slope. Not a big deal. What you want to find is we got one point that we know. Look for the exact intersection in this grid. It goes through there. Find any other point it goes through. I've done a lousy job, but it goes right through this point. What are the coordinates of that point? Or to go from here to there, how much are we going up? How much are we going across? So the rise is from there to there. We're going up 1. The run, how much are we going across? Well, we're going to the right, positive, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. The rise is 1, run is 4, so the slope equation, no problem. Y equals 1/4 times x minus 1. That's it. Okay. How long have I gone on here? Almost 12 minutes. Okay, I'm going to do another one, just in case you're curious. If you've seen enough, you can say, oh, forget it, I got it. And then go and look at that the rest of that sheet that I put out. It has E3 on it. Okay, let me do another one. I'm going to do, let's say I have, this one. I'm just going to do a little piece of it. It goes off both directions. Okay. Get rid of all this stuff. So what do I call this one? I'll call this L9. Okay? So what about L9? What is the equation of L9? What is it? Okay, I have to know B and I have to know M. Slope, Y-intercept. So first of all, where's the y-intercept? It's the easiest thing to spot. Look at L9. Where does it cross the y-axis? It crosses right there. What number is that on the y? Here's 0, 1, 2, 3. B equals 3. What's the slope? Now to find the slope, I want to identify the rise and the run. So as I'm going, let me look at, I got one definite point. I've identified where this thing crosses. Let me find another. There's another right there. I don't want to choose something in here because I don't know what that is. It's not an identified cross section of the grid lines. You want something that goes right through. And that's what we have here. So as I go from here to here, how do I do it? Well, do I rise? No. I drop. I go down. Down 1, 2 spaces. And I go 1, 2, 3 to the right. So the rise is down 2. And the run is to the right 3. So my slope, therefore, is M equals -2/3. Rise over the run. What is my equation? Y equals -2/3 times x plus b. What's b? It's 3. That's it. So you could take any line on here and come up with this equation. You can take any equation you're given of a line and draw it. if you're just not told the equation, let's say slope is 4, y-intercept is 0. You can draw that. You could write the equation. This is what you know how to do right now. We're going to look at a certain point. There's only two types of lines that may confuse you at first, but it'll make sense. First of all, there's some lines that don't go through the y-axis. What if it's parallel to the y-axis? It'll never cross it. It has a certain structure. What if it's completely flat like that? That means it has a slope of 0. So you won't have a slope. Anyways, we'll get to that later. But that's a little view to the future. Take another look at the sheet. I think you can answer everything from E3. Now I'm going to do a little more, probably a couple more, and we're going to tie it all together and we'll have E4 be done with lines. Okay? All right, stay safe.